And my last project that I'm going to talk about today was a quality improvement project that I did as a requirement for the Leadership in Nursing course at IPFW. And what I did was a medication math website for nursing students. So this was geared toward undergraduate students in their first semester in the program. And I don't know about requirements at other schools, but at our school, for each clinical course, so each course with clinicals that students are going to be out working with patients, our school requires a perfect score on a math exam at the beginning of the semester before they are able to go out and pass meds. So when I say math, I'm talking about dosage calculation. Does that make sense to everybody in here? Okay. So a little bit more about my background and how I came to pick this topic for my quality improvement project is that I worked at IPFW as a supplemental instructor for anatomy and physiology, and that kind of rolled into a group tutor position, which I did for dosage math calculation, specifically for nursing students. I had also heard some things. I am one of those people that some people hate. I'm comfortable with math. It's one of, I'm one that it just comes naturally to me. It's kind of easy. Don't hate me for that. But I heard a lot of rumblings. People posting on Facebook how stressed out they were because it's that time of the semester they had to be perfect on the math exam. So I went at this a little bit backwards, but I'm gonna tell you about it flip-flop. So for this, I was actually with my preceptor for this class. I was with IPFW faculty, and she works with those students in the beginning nursing classes. So I surveyed them for their intra, inter, and extrapersonal stressors, and these are all self-reported. So I want you to just take a quick look at the wide variety of intrapersonal stressors that these students reported, from the, I've got a cold, I'm tired, my skin's breaking out, the seemingly simple to the very serious, because you can see that suicidal ideation is up there. And I got that as a report anonymously, which was, took a different direction, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. Interpersonal stressors, relationships with their family at home, their friends, their professors, their co-workers, what you would kind of guess for nursing students. And extrapersonal stressors, the weather. This is a commuter community college, so we've got students coming from a wide range driving into school, so weather plays into that. Building a new house, needing to work, deadlines. Now, like I told you before, I went at it a little bit backwards because I knew I wanted to do something with that medication math, that dosage math calculation. So just to get an idea of with this group, what kind of stress it was for them, I gave a pre-survey, and you can see the questions there on the left, and it was a Likert scale survey. And here are the results that I got. So I had quite a mix. I have many that admitted that math stresses them out, and they get anxious when they have to solve math equations, and yet I had a large percentage that also felt confident in it. We have to remember how that the group dynamic plays. If you think you're pretty good at something, but you hear other people getting real stressed out, and then you're thinking, well, maybe I should be stressed out about that. It all kind of plays into it. So for the students that did not have that anxiety yet, it was a primary prevention as intervention, those that already had that math anxiety, the mindset that, oh, I've never been good at math, I will always be bad at math. This would be a secondary prevention as intervention. So I developed a website, and the idea was given to me by one of those students. He wanted something accessible that he could do on his own time because nursing school was already so demanding of his time, but he wanted the resource available to him. So I developed a website, and this was an individual project. This website really developed as the semester went on, because I was going to just use it as a tutorial tool to teach them dimensional analysis, and that is what our school has chosen as the preferred method for dosage math calculation. So the students have to use dimensional analysis. So I thought this was going to be a tutorial with that. It turned into a whole lot more, and I know you can't read that very well, but I was able to touch on all those other stressors that were reported. And myself, along with Heidi, who many of you heard speak this morning, came up with the 12-step program on surviving nursing school. Because we talked about it, and really, the stressors that were reported to her, we were talking about them one day, and I'm like, nursing students have a whole lot going on. I know just myself, I had a lot of stressors that played into my life, but before we had actually asked the other students that, we had no idea the wide range and how serious they could be, like this suicidal ideation. So we created this after the 12-step program that Alcoholics Anonymous put together, so I had the 12 steps up on my website, and then a little explanation would scroll through, and I've got a copy of that for you guys if you want it after this. So then I really went into the medication math. I had practice problems available. I had a Prezi I put up. There was step-by-step instructions on how to solve dosage calculation problems with dimensional analysis. Conversion factors, common abbreviations, and then I gave them the reason why, because that's one of those teaching learning principles. The students want to know why do we have to do this? Give me a good reason. So I gave them a good reason. I linked to another resource that our school uses for practice problems and explanations, and then I gave them the opportunity to contact me if they had comments or questions. I surveyed these students at the end of the semester. Almost 47% utilized the website at least once, 67% would use it in the future, and 60% reported a reduction in math anxiety after the implementation of my project. So that's just a brief overview of the three projects that I did implementing the Neuman systems model, informatics, and evidence-based teaching with three very diverse groups of students. I would like to welcome a discussion about math anxiety, if that is something that you guys are interested in. I'd be welcome to explain the process of any of my projects in more detail. I also have wanted to give you a copy of that 12-step program with the explanations on the back. I don't know if I have enough copies for everybody, so if I don't have enough to go around, I've put my email address at the end of this presentation. I'd be happy to email it to you. Yes, please.
Can we use your website for our students?
Well, it's currently being revised just so that it is hosted on a university, so that the university hosts it, so that, because I incurred a cost in putting it together, the hosting. So it's currently being revised, but I'd be happy to send it to you when it's all out there and done. That's the Prezi. Yep.
It sounds incredibly labor extensive what you did, even if I just think about the project putting out anxiety. What's your
There's a funny story that goes along with it, and Professor Beckman was my professor for the leadership in nursing course, and I may or may not have fallen behind on my journaling, my self-reflective journaling for that class, and she kind of called me out on it, and I said, speaking of stressors, I would love to show you what else I've been doing this semester. So I came to her office and sat for a few hours to show her each of these projects in detail. It was a very busy semester, and yet it did not feel like work. I talked about one of the outcomes of this is the energizing of the teaching of myself and each of these groups. I discovered a passion within myself that is going to take me to the next step in my career. So I learned that I love to teach. I have a background in sales, and projects like this are incorporating my background in sales along with my nursing knowledge. The application of the Neuman systems model with each of these different groups just fascinates me. That's where my psych nursing interest comes into play. It's not work for me, and I have ideas to continue each of these projects well beyond nursing school even.
Well, I think health education, sales and marketing is perfect.
But nobody even told me that. Like, I had to discover that all on my own, and now I've got ideas that I haven't even told anybody yet. And they're all just, the wheels are turning, and I have tons of ideas, not just on these topics, but other topics as well. And when I turned in my period movie to my informatics instructor, within 30 seconds, it was an 8-minute video. We had a time constraint between 5 and 8 minutes for this video. Mine went exactly 8 minutes. And within 30 seconds of watching it, she says, I think you have a career in this. I'm like, but wait a minute, you haven't even watched the whole thing yet. It was fun. It wasn't work. And I think that's hard to achieve. Not many people can find that. Yes, please.
I just have a question. How many chances do you give your students to pass that test?
I believe it is 3. Is that correct?
After the first time failing, they come into a faculty and sit down and talk about how they study and what they do. Then they have a second chance, and if they don't pass it on the second, they come back in again with a plan of what they plan to do before they take it the third time. Typically by the third, they pull it off. They need more work and practice, and through the first review, they sit there, and it's happened semester to semester, and it's like, they come back, I can't do it, and that's how they start that first review. I can't do it, I never could, I'm not going to be able to, and until they realize, you're not going to start clinical this time, and it happens all the way up to senior leadership.
Yeah.
They come in, half of them didn't pass the first time, half, and they've been doing this. Now the math test is only 10 questions. It's really algebra, it's cross-multiplying, it's understanding how you're going to calculate the meds.
It's stuff we learn in
It's knowing that 5 milliliters are in a teaspoon.
They can keep getting by with it.
Did you get that one wrong?
Yes.
But they say, I can't. And I say, you're going to be passing meds out there with a preceptor now. The faculty's not going to protect you anymore. I'm someplace else. I'm available by phone. You're with a preceptor. That nurse should not have to worry about you. You are not going to clinical until you pass. Oh, I have to get started. I have to get that done. You're not starting until you don't pass. And then it's like, God, I better do this. I better try until I get it.